Well, hello, my lovely viewers. I hope everyone can hear me well. This is a fine Friday evening, and what better way to spend it than fiddling around with Archlinux? By the way, in case you are watching the VOD, this series, because I do realize that I am basically fuddling my way with thumbnails for those streams, will be not really compiled, but there will be a whole main channel video about Archlinux for gaming installation, etc. Everything will be compiled into 10-minute or whatever comprehensive digestible format. So don't feel pressurized to watch all of the VODs or stuff like that. There may be a video where I will basically compile my thoughts about the whole process before that, because making a tutorial isn't really all that easy and basically does consume a lot of time. But yeah, I mean, I am basically making those VODs available as they are in case you are really, in case you just really can't wait and you just have to watch somebody really make their way through all this process. And sometimes the conclusions I come to are really weird. And basically, the very thought I'm thinking is that how is that nobody has made this a project of theirs before and made it more convenient, like actually more convenient. So yeah, basically, where were we? I think as with everything, we are starting here. Basically at the boot screen of my desktop PC. Once again, quick reminder, this is an installation being done on my desktop PC, which is basically my gaming PC. It has 5070 NVIDIA Ti. It has AMD Ryzen whatever, because I don't know, CPU is not really something I basically can remember on top of my head. I can show it to you later. Oh shit, I actually forgot to configure some bot commands. There really was a good idea. And basically this PC, as you are pretty much seeing here, has a coexisting Windows installation. So basically this is a dual boot. So in case anybody wants to dual boot, I will say it once again very quickly. If you want to dual boot, the best way and the simplest way to do it is to have a separate drive for each OS. Not partitions, separate drives. In that case, it's way easier. I also just realized that I am getting tremendous amounts of reflection in my glasses. I do wonder if there exists glasses that don't do that, or do I just have to fiddle around with my setup more? So, by the way, I may be responding preemptively to messages that will appear in chat below me, because I do basically glance at my OBS screen. But basically, Jonas, that sounds like a nice idea, separate drives. Yes, it makes everything way easier, and you are reducing the risk of messing up your UEFI or MBR or whatever you are using way less. Because you can just do whatever you want on the separate drive. For example, installing grub, removing grub, stuff like that, and you are not risking messing with Windows at all. Okay, basically last time we switched to systemd boot. We tried our way with grub, and then we uninstalled grub and went with systemd boot, just because systemd boot actually supports automatically scanning for EFI binaries on EFI partition, and grub cannot do that. Basically in grub you have to script the shit out of it in order to have boot entries appear automatically. There may be some projects for that, but grub by itself does not really support that, which is a shame. Systemd boot basically has everything up and running. and it's basically responsible for all of those boot entries. But you know, first is the Windows boot entry, second is the Linux boot manager, third is also the Linux boot manager, and fourth is USB with Arch ISO installer. And the last one is BIOS setup, right? It doesn't really matter which one we pick here. We can go with Linux. As you can see, systemd boot. Last time we also discovered that systemd boot actually has a boot menu. So, you know, it doesn't really seem like it would have that, but basically it does have a boot menu, which is really nice and will come in handy as we will fiddle our way around with BTRFS, which you can see I have already kind of started last time to pretty much no success, sadly, but still. First, let's boot into our system. By the way, this system will be definitely formatted once or twice more. So as you can see, also there is no login manager. We are basically leaving everything to the TTY, and I basically have a script which launches the desktop environment. Sadly, this requires me, and this is a known issue, to do a quick reset of my input in the OBS. So this is not a fault necessarily of the system. It's basically quite possibly a quirk of OBS on Mac, or maybe my USB capture card. But yeah, oh, updates available. Sweet, let's install those updates. Why not? There have been quite a lot of updates. Just Firefox this time, but I think those are only like Flatpaks updates, not necessarily Pacman system updates. Okay, that's done. And as always with Arch, a shit ton of updates. Jonas, that's right, the bootloader, yeah. We've had some adventures with bootloader. I've also like kind of discussed this with my colleagues at work, and you know, basically if you install like, I don't know, Ubuntu, Debian, or like Rocky, Fedora, whatever, you don't really realize how many things are scripted. It's not like programs have features. It's that so many things are scripted, which, you know, to me is kind of a surprise in some cases. Okay, so we do have a new kernel, we do have a new fallback. So let's reboot. But sadly, probably I will need to reset the comlink again, but that happens. Well, that's a lot, yeah. Yep, that's what you get for not booting your Arch for a week or something. Yep, this is our fallback. So basically, so are those the same version actually? That's a good question. That's 6.15.3 Arch 1-1, and this is also... We'll have to check that. Or maybe it's just being rebuilt because there have been updates to firmware or dynamic kernel modules, which kinda would explain this. Many months on Debian, this would be, yeah, on Debian this would be like a whole like release cycle or a minor upgrade version, basically. Yeah, there are servers I maintain which basically are, I don't know, mail servers that basically are on their only job is to run postfix or dovecot or stuff like that. And you know, there may be times where I'm just like, okay, I'll take a look after like a month or two at that server, and it's like 0 updates. Like maybe a security fix, but that's mostly time zone data or or something weird like that. Okay, KD plasma. Probably once again. Yep. This has to do something with my capture card, I'm pretty sure. Though we maybe, I mean, last time I think we kinda did find out a way to circumvent that, but and it is kinda tied to how the system boots, but it's not really that important. Oh yeah, not much happening on a slim system, yeah. That's a fact. I mean, that's also a sign of a really well-maintained system. If you don't really have a mess of packages, especially in a production environment, then at least you are pretty much kinda know what you're upgrading and what's happening. So mainly for today, I was thinking that we, or maybe more like I still can't really wrap my way in my head as how I should basically say everything either as I or we, maybe. Basically, I will play around with BTRFS because what I would really like to achieve would be to have a feature where I can easily make a whole system snapshot, and then where I could basically boot from the boot menu from the system deboot into different snapshots, which I kind of find out a way last time how to do that. I basically kind of got stuck at the kernel parameters. So if I remember correctly, and I do have to kind of remind myself everything, if I end, what's my layout? Okay, EFI is mounted at /EFI, and everything else is at /root. So if I go to my EFI and go to loader, there is some stuff that system deboot kind of prepared and is expecting to basically make custom changes around, right? So if you want to add custom entries, you go to entries directory, and here you can see there is like my arch snapshot.conf. So you can basically add your own boot entry by basically creating a file. And this is a very simple syntax, basically title, path to the EFI binary, and then options. And I am pretty sure I've mocked something up with options. So obviously I do have to Google around and open ArchWiki. No, I would like a fresh new session. I don't really want to open my old mistakes. Okay. Archlinux BTRFS. So yes, basically we already have like a BTRFS created by just mkfs and BTRFS during installation. It's a directory for the entries. That's cool. So easy for scripts to add some. Yes, this is unbelievably easy because in Grub you have to create those files also, but then you have to regenerate Grub configuration, yada yada yada, stuff like that. It's easy to mess around, and also some guys tell you to directly edit the boot grub CFG, the generated one, which is, I mean, if you know what you're doing and you know how to recover, then sure, why not? But if you don't, then oh yeah, by the way, cat prods, what command line are we running? I think last time I basically just copied this and kind of like had a little success with that. So I think I might, just for the sake of it, repeat the experiment. But first, what are my binaries actually? Yeah, so fallback for some reason has way more data. I think we have a theory for that, but maybe later. Okay, just to compare. Are those exactly the same? Those are, interestingly, why are they the same? If this is a, oh, it's not a, oh, no. I don't know what I'm saying and what I'm doing. That's fine. So we have exact copy, a carbon copy of our EFI unified kernel image. And it seems like we have the same option, just maybe let me do system deboot entries, maybe uh, a quick refresher on that. Maybe I will catch something I may have possibly omitted. Adding loaders. Basically, which is also, I think, interesting, but at this point is getting silly. You may have your system deboot, but you also may install grub, and then basically system deboot fires up first and then switches over to grub. Basically, it has grub as a boot entry. It is, I want to say, a valid configuration, but at this point it's getting silly. Okay, this is, I think, traditional. Yes, we have EFI application basically, right? We don't really have this init ramfs bullshit. An example entry. Oh, interesting. There is an example entry. USR share USR share systemd bootctl arch.conf. Ah, yeah. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. That's not really interesting. I mean, I think we should boot with this. Unified kernel images are automatically sourced and do not need an entry. That's true, but I want to have a custom options. GRML. Interesting. In order to install the ESP, okay. Yeah, actually I do use GRML at work. Maybe not quite often, but when I need to rescue something or do whatever, then yes. Okay, but that's ESP. Installing manual entry. Okay, I think on a surface level, we can try. So reboot. I mean, to be honest, I can't wait for this part to be more or less over the system installation, because then I can switch to streaming from actually the PC and not the capture card, second laptop, or whatever. By the way, let's try the. Oh no, let's stick away to one as for now, because then I can actually first of all stream some games and then basically simplify my setup. Yeah, that was Arch snapshot. Tam. Failed. No such file or directory may have dmask information about failed mount system call. Failed to mount UUID on real root. You are now being dropped to an emergency shell. I doubt I will have access to such luxuries. Jesus, why is even the dmask so basic? Okay, Logitech receiver. Oh yeah, that thing. Okay. Logitech receiver, NVMe, BTRFS info, first mount of file system using, so it like kind of sees using CRC, using free space tree, last unmount file system, write cache. So, huh. By the way, let me just refill my Stanley cup or Stanley mug. It's way easier to drink from that rather than from the bottle directly. Yeah, enjoy the ASMR. And stay hydrated, boys. And possibly girls. Even though channel statistics don't really confirm that. Now I need a drink too. Yeah. Remember, if it's after hours, you can drink whatever. I mean, it's weird because everything seems fine in the mask, but it did fail to mount, and I think last time I kinda also verified that UUID is fine. So why it cannot launch with this specific option that it's actually running when we are booting the file system from different entries? Actually, is this an no, is EFI partition mounted? Can we like ls def, because I have to say I do have to refreshen up how to do things when you don't really have your basic tools at hand. I mean, we are seeing drives NVMe2 and 1P1, I would guess. That's my EFI partition probably. So def NVMe 2 and 1P1 at MNT, I don't think. And no file system VFAT. Okay, so I think we've kind of hit the jackpot. Why is it so, I want to say retarded? And what if we do partition 2 mount point? Okay, that's a progress. Mount mkdir/mnt lsmnt. It will be empty. Yep. Home. Yeah, so this is our actual file system, but for some reason it's failing to boot it or mount it. But considering that we are here, we must have like started the EFI binary. And it is like a carbon copy, like down to the checksum of what we are actually booting. Okay, so maybe. I don't think. Yeah. Really? Okay. So I guess it's the good old switch for me now. So I think I wonder if there's like a loader entry or something like that for the entry that basically normally boots, basically for this one, and if it's different in some way. I guess at this point I'm booting Plasma only because I can easily make a font bigger more easily in the terminal. Just like that. Okay, cd EFI, loader, and loader conf. Nothing. Cat entries srel, nothing, and random seed, nothing. So I guess it is dynamically generated, but how does it know what to, or maybe that information is already baked into the UEFI. So if we go to entries and basically remove this, or rather not really remove. I want to have the options left because I do want quite possibly to modify them or add my own. Okay, no, so first we'll do just the this dump test. And after that, we will see whether adding options overrides everything there is in baked in options or whether it's basically adding options on top of existing ones. Voila. Exactly. So there are pre-existing baked-in options into the EFI binary. We will see whether that is actually a good thing or not. Once again, switcheroo. So console, make it bigger. Okay, before it's actually might be Googling systemd boot append boot options. I mean, most of the time, Reddit, I mean, sometimes Reddit is quite good at basically having some obscure guy actually being in the know and answering a subject. Sadly, those people not necessarily exist on the mainstream Linux subreddits. Or maybe they do and they just argue way down in the comments. Okay, so we have pretty much no better way than to just check. Loader entries. Yeah, I haven't made any typo. Quiet. That reminds me I need to play this new Death Stranding game. Even though it's from Metal Gear, which I also haven't played. Sadly, I haven't played the fifth one yet. Okay, I guess once again. But I really do like Kojima games. Okay, the moment of truth. Yeah, so it basically overrides completely all the baked in EFI parameters. So I guess, because this is also something I have tried to research with little success. There's another thing I was thinking about with little success, sadly. Basically, can you hook into BTRFS at a level? I mean, no snapper, no time machine, no whatever. Can you hook into BTRFS in such way where you have pre and post hooks basically from the BTRFS? I want to be able to execute a script before and after BTRFS creates a snapshot, independent from the whatever snapper or what else is there. And I guess the answer is nobody was that much interested in this, and you know there is like a group BTRFS whatever, which sadly there is none for systemd. I wish there were. KD plasma once more. Oh, by the way, this really helps the stream, especially on YouTube, if you give it a like, by the way. And I am serious. If you don't believe me, go watch the Spiffing Brit. I basically love his videos, especially not in games also, but when he fucks around with YouTube. Mwah. Okay, so what's our next step? Maybe let's find out what can we discover what is the baked in read EFI binary kernel parameters. Obviously a typo. How to read EFI firmware data from, okay, this might not be it. Yeah, I don't want to mess with the UEFI. I need to analyze the EFI binary. And quite possibly before that, so what do we have here? Because I don't remember for the love of me. Yep. Oh, fallback options as out of the deck. Okay, so it basically has some grounds or some base for actually making the fallback something different and not just carbon copy. Okay. Interesting. So conf d nothing. Interesting. Hooks, base def, out of deck, microcode. Okay. Let's go from the very top. Oh, and let's verify that NVIDIA is still actually working. It is. Rather before any boot hooks are run, advanced user might wish to specify all system modules in this array. For instance, binaries. This setting includes any additional binaries a given user may wish to into the CPIO image. This is run last, so it may be used to overwrite actual binaries included by a given hook. Okay, files. This setting is similar to binaries. Files are added as is and are not parsed in any way. This is useful for config files. Hooks. This is the most important setting in this file. Okay. The hooks control the modules and scripts added to the image and what happens at boot time. Order is important and it is recommended you do not change the order in which hooks are added. Run mk init cpo minus big H, capital H, hook name for help on a given hook. Base is required unless you know precisely what you're doing. udef is required. File systems is required. Examples. This setup will auto-detect all modules for your system and should work as a sane default. Will generate a full image which supports most systems. No auto-detection is done. This setup assembles a MD ADM array. Okay. This setup loads an LVM2 volume group. This will create a systemd based initramfs which loads an encrypted root file system. If you have okay, USR and FSK roots. So basically what do we have? Console font block file systems FSK. Use this to compress an image by default ZSTD. Compress option modules decompress. Okay. Quite interesting stuff actually. Decompress loadable kernel modules and their firmware during initramfs creation. Enable to allow further decreasing image size when using high compression. At the expense of increased RAM usage at early boot. Note that any compressed files will be placed in the uncompressed early CPIO to avoid double compression. Okay, so basically nobody should be interested in that unless they are developing for embedded systems or I don't know. So not really, I mean, hooks are interesting, but in not a way I kinda expected them to be. Requires an argument. I know it requires an argument. I'm not sure what argument can I give it. Oh yes, there is, if not big H, then there is a big L. Available hooks. BTRFS, encrypt file systems, host data, KMS. UDEF and USR. I googled for BTRFS snapshot hooks and looked at BTRFS help, but I think it doesn't exist. Yes, exactly. I think everything is basically pointing to you at the helper software, which is a shame, but I guess. I mean, and also you could basically write yourself a wrapper by your own, but I have to say, I kinda imagined that it would be possible, or maybe way easier, to create a sane Archlinux for gamers. It turns out, like with all the conveniences and you know, maybe some extra stuff like BTRFS snapshots management. But it turns out that it's exactly the opposite. It's way easier to basically an expert secure Arch Linux installation rather than an installation that, or maybe a deployment that's you know, a bit more forgiving. Or if you just wanted hooks, just throw it in all a custom script. Exactly. I mean, this is something I would rather not do. And you know, this is something that you know, if I want to basically advertise this as for gamers, most gamers just want to install their OS and basically have it working, and in the end play some games. If they had to sit down and debug this thing as I am doing now, there would be no people playing games on Linux in their own free time, especially on Arch. Sadly. I mean, BTRFS should be a tool with the snapshots in which it's an easy get out of jail free card, basically, where I don't know, I install my system, I make a snapshot, even let's say before installing any graphical interface, and then in case I mess something up, revert back, boot into that snapshot, or do whatever, right? And right now it's getting weird. What can we do? Actually, maybe I am basically overthinking this a bit, because I did like install Snapper just out of pure curiosity. No, I didn't. Not Snapper, BTRFS Assistant. Sorry. Because it did look like it was more like it had like way better support, and by that I mean the GitHub was way more active. Yeah, okay, that doesn't exist yet. Something that adds removed boot entries, if that's what. Yes, yes. I mean, that does exist if you are using grub. It doesn't exist if you are using system deboot, which is, I mean, weird. It's weird that nobody has done that, considering how easy it is to add entries for system deboot compared to grub. Uh, let's actually, I've never tried reverting to manual snapshots, so optional. Oh, is this how's this going to be? You cannot restore to the root of the partition. Why? I know I can. I mean, because there is a way I have tried once before. Uh, Subvolume. Uh, Subvolume list. Oh, exactly this. There are snapshots, blah, blah, blah. Basically, you can make this, because I think if I'm remembering this correctly, this is the snapshot I made like previous stream, right? You basically can tell BTRFS this is the new default, and it will basically boot into this snapshot. So maybe let me find that guide where it was described. I mean, what I wanted to do was to able to boot between snapshots without, or switch between snapshots without booting into the system. Let's say you broke down the system to a point where it doesn't boot. This method requires you to be able to log in, or at least, I don't know, have an Arch ISO lying around or whatever. And if you want to roll back, you should keep. If you want to use automated rollback tools, the root sub will needs to be the default rather than hard coded as a kernel parameter in that case. Personally, I don't think automated rollbacks are worth all that trouble. It's easy enough to it's easy enough. I mean, if you're an expert user, sure. I find it easy. But I can basically recover from a grab failure. By the way, wasn't there like Arch Wiki BTRFS snapshot? I don't remember where it was described. Maybe on Arch Wiki. Mm. Yes, change the default subvolume. So BTRFS subvolume. Oh my, I changed the size and everything. Set default 1. Can be found by listing. Oh. 259. Okay. And now if we reboot, basically the quick thing that would confirm this is that there will be a lot of updates to install. We're booting, that's good. Input switcheroo. So ooh, oi oi oi. What has happened? Ooh, who hurt you? What's happening? Oh yeah, list. Pum pum pum. So that is quite a question. I think we have kind of reverted back, but partially. Why is Pac-Man dead? Everything's. I mean, Flatpak says everything is up to date. Is it 10 p.m.? Yep, it is 10 p.m. So that would coincide with what has happened. I I mean, it's way easier if you do this on LVM and from a, for example, Proxmox. Hmm. I mean, the true question is, why is Pac-Man? Nvidia is alright. What's unexpected error? And and I think we found the culprit. Now the question, yeah, why? So first of all, it seems like touch test. It seems like first of all we have rebooted into read-only file system. So BTRFS soup volume. Because this is not the whole procedure, to be honest, because I do remember that the procedure was change the default, and I don't remember now what was it next. Like either was it reboot into the new default, remove the old sub volume, and then basically move things around and then reboot again, or maybe there was something else. Maybe that's some kind of default for a snapshot. Maybe. To be honest, I don't know. Though I know that I have done this once before successfully. Sadly, I haven't made any notes, so here we are. So the question is, where's the previous thing? Where's the previous file system? Get default, set default, find new, show, sync. Wait until given subvolumes are completely removed from the file system. Show. Name snapshot. Flags. Okay, maybe if we just remove the flags. So I will help myself and basically just use my phone and Google shit on my phone, because this will be just easier. BTRFS, change sub volume flag. I mean, I do have a quick mind freak for you. I mean, imagine it's like 10 or 12 or 20 years ago. You are doing the same thing as I am doing now, and you don't have a phone with a web browser and internet connection, and the PC you are working on is the only working PC in the house, and you break that PC. How do you look for help? You go to a library, possibly. Those were wild times. Mm. BTRFS, restore Root snap. Oh yeah, this is what I was googling before. You basically have to add root snapshots. Yeah, that used to be a big deal. If it really freed you with the freed you up with the phone internet, yeah. Those were the times. I mean, I remember my absolutely first time. I think I was like 8 or 9 when I was like reinstalling the system. I don't remember. I think my first OS was Windows ME, and I wanted to reinstall to 98, I think. And after I kind of got like ISO and the CD burnt and all that stuff, and I basically went through the installer. And after I formatted the drive, for some reason it didn't want to install. Maybe it was lacking some drivers. And then I called my my godfather at the time who gave me that PC. He was a PC repairman. And I was like, okay, how do I fix this? I already formatted the drive. And he was like, you formatted the drive? There are no files present currently on that PC. Everything is deleted. And I was like, okay, so formatting is deleting the drives. Okay, that was a news to 8-year-old me. Basically, you always find out the hard way. I think I know what needs to be done, but I'm pretty sure I also saw a method that did not involve booting from the Arch ISO. Okay, interesting. Oh man, yeah, I don't remember when I learned about format, but I had some nice people trying to teach me some DOS commands. Yeah, I've had nice people, maybe not really nice people, that's on me. I kind of wanted to upgrade my BIOS, and I think you can pretty much guess how that went. Back when upgrading a BIOS was really, really something you should not be doing. Nowadays, it's so streamlined. Even if you pull a power plug midway through your BIOS upgrade these days, you can flash a motherboard even without a CPU inserted, right? Even if you pull a power plug midway through flash. But back then, oh boy, I think you only could do that if you bricked yourself. You could only unbrick yourself via UART, and you basically needed to have a specific one for your motherboard. So, those were the days. Interesting. Interesting. What the hell is happening here even? Set default. Yeah, that's crazy about the CPU. I learned that this year. Yeah, after I bought like a motherboard on the AM4, there was like a asterisk sign next to it that, you know, in order to use some newer series AMD CPUs, you need to flash the motherboard with a newer BIOS. Thankfully, you can do that even without the CPU inserted, which was like what? Mm. Okay, I guess the system is completely bricked. Let's try that. Had the same situation, yeah. Currently I am on AM5, but I've given the AM4 PC to my girlfriend. So it's still with me, and it still might need an upgrade considering that AMD is still releasing CPUs for the AM4, which is crazy, but I mean, that's really pro-consumer. Root device mounted successfully, but bailing out you are on your own, good luck. That's okay. This I need to commemorate this. This is on a level of unknown elf magic. That's pure gold. That's pure gold. But you know what? If this is completely bricked, I might try something else. To be honest, the unified kernel image and system deboot are not as vital as I thought they might be. I could stick to grub, I could stick to very basic installation, just to see the BTRFS snapshot grub integration. But I also wanted to try out the automated Arch installer. Just because I am curious what system and I will end up with and how it will be configured. Like, definitely I don't really want to make a tutorial that will be yet another Arch install, click next guide. It's surprising that some people do. I mean, those are needed materials, obviously. I am just surprised that they managed to squeeze like a 50 or 20 minutes video out of it, and basically they'll go through every step of Arch install, and they don't really say anything, don't really explain anything. They just say that this is a bootloader. It will load your boot or whatever. So going back to my initial thought, I don't want to make yet another automated Arch install tutorial. It has to have that unique aspect, that flavor of actually doing things yourself in order to understand them. But I just may want to try it out for myself to see what system I will end up with. Okay, so NVMe this time 1N1. So wipe maybe let's make double sure. Mount MNT def NVMe 1N1 P1 MNT. What's in the MNT? Is it really? Yep, okay. So YPFS, what were the... Okay, FA. YPFS, FA, def, NVMe 1N1. And Arch install. And let's see what's what will we end up with. New version available. This is like Ubuntu installer. I mean, did it upgrade? Like, what has happened? Locales, keyboard layout. No, it's not the US layout. But the rest can be as is. Mirrors and repositories. Select regions. I wonder if my home institution will be here. Yeah, there it is. FTP ICM edu PL. I wish I could remove all of those except the except the ICM, because I do know for a fact I have touched those servers and I know the person that's administrating them. This is the best mirror in Poland for any sort of Linux, to be honest. Like, I've had problems with others. I've never had problem with ICM. Okay, this configuration, partitioning. Uh, manual. Manual partitioning. I mean, I am kind of afraid if I use this, this will basically choose a disk at random and fuck me over, but okay, maybe not. That's cool, getting them from the old uni. Yeah, I still work it. I still work at that university. I mean, I haven't graduated it. I have graduated a different university, but I do work at ICM currently. Free space, sector size, read only. 1 and 1. This, yes, please. Let's go with BTRFS. Would you like subvolumes with a default structure? I don't know what's the default structure, but let's go with default. Would you like to use compression or disable copy on write? What has one thing to do with the other? I mean, I would really like to have copy on write, but why do I have to use compression? Are they like, are there like, is this like a wrong word used? Because, I mean, those are completely two different things. What's happening here? No, they're separate choices. I mean, I don't want to do any of this. I don't want to use compression and I don't want to disable copy on write. But this is clearly a question that's, because how I can progress. Would you like to use compression or disable copy on write? Yeah, exactly. I mean, let's go with, I don't know, use compression. I mean, I don't know what's happening, to be honest. So partitioning is, we have main subvolume, home, var log, and pacman cache. And snapshots are at root.snapshots. Compress ZSTD. I have no idea what's happening, to be honest, here. Disk encryption we don't want. Would you like to use swap on ZRAM? What is swap on ZRAM? ZRAM, this is, by the way, ArchWiki. Okay, it's way too bright, but you have to trust me on this one. ZRAM, formerly called Comp Cache, is a Linux kernel module for creating a compressed block device in RAM, i.e. RAM disk with on-the-fly disk compression. The block device created with ZRAM can be used for swap as general purpose RAM. The two most common use cases for ZRAM are for the storage of temporary files and as a swap device. Initially, ZRAM had only the latter function. Hence the original name, comp cache, compressed cache. Why would you want to use RAM as a swap space? Initially, the created zero-on-block device does not reverse or use any RAM. Only as files needed or want to be swapped out, they will be compressed. And like, is this like only the aspect of the compression? Like, is this like the compression part of things? I mean, to be honest, I don't want any swap on my system. I like for the past, I don't know, 5 years or something like that, I have not configured swap anywhere. On my laptop, on my PC, on my Windows PC, on my workplace servers. But this is really, really weird. No, I don't want to have swap at all. Has this like made swap here? No. Okay, bootloader. Let's go with grub. Just because I want to fuck around with the BTRFS grub. Hostname. It can be Archlinux or whatever. Root password. I am using dummy 3-letter password, so don't worry about that. Yes. Profile. Type. Let's go with KD Plasma as I did previously. Graphics driver, interesting. NVIDIA opened the KMS. This is what? Is it ASD? No, it's not. It's not. Greetings, GDM. Let's go with GDM. Audio. Pipewire Pulse Audio. No audio server. Like, I mean, to be honest, it's no wonder that people need a tutorial for this actually. Pipewire Pulse Audio. I mean, I think Pipewire is the go-to. Linux, Linux 100, LTS. This is unimportant. Use Network Manager. Yes, please use Network Manager. Additional packages. Is this like every possible package? Oh my. Okay, maybe let's leave that alone. And the time zone, let's give it a proper time zone. As always, Europe is on the end and on the short end of the stick. Like, yes, finally, but still at the very end. Warsaw, automatic time sync and TP. Save user configuration, include save all. Okay, so it's like maybe if you want to create a template. Let's install. The specific configuration will be applied. Would you like to continue? Hands off. I mean, you know what's really, really weird about this? Formatting definitely mean 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What am I expected to do in case I don't really want that? Or I just realize it doesn't tell you, I don't know, press Ctrl C if you want to abort or whatever. It's kind of funny. I mean, there was a book I read, I mean, a few years ago, called The Design of Everyday Things. I think it's basically pull the plug. Yeah. I mean, it's basically from the guy who designed many things at Apple. Maybe I can actually, because I kind of forgot that I still have this. Design of, oh yes, exactly this. The design of everyday things, Don Norman. And it basically, I mean, he did design many things for Apple. Like, I'm not sure what exactly, I don't remember. Maybe some iPhone, maybe some UI stuff. But it does specifically talks about things like that. And it gives you a current day modern world comparisons. Like, for example, why the door handles are, if you are expected to push a door, you should not have a handle. The handle implies that you need to pull the door, right? Stuff like that. That really sounds like a cool book I could read. Yeah. I mean, one other cool book I'm reading right now is about Kubernetes, but I do have to say the best aspect of that book is that it's actually explaining containers from the grounds up, from the very namespace. I mean, basically, it doesn't really mention Docker or Kubernetes or whatever. I don't know, 20 or 30 pages in. I never read any. Yeah, I mean, I do also run into that problem. I used to read more, especially when I was commuting via bus or still attending university. I mean, I really liked the Hyperion canon. Press Ctrl H for help. Yes, no. I assume it asks me for a reboot. Or maybe no. Installation. I mean, let's see how ready the system is. Okay, so that question may have been about, do I want to enter truth? But by the way, about books, Hyperion Canon was super cool. I mean, it's like 4 hefty books, but that's quite an amazing piece of sci-fi literature. Okay. We have Grub. I also am a big fan of Asimov series. Currently, I'm reading Foundation. Okay, I started text file recently adding Hyperion Canon. It's kind of amazing, the Hyperion. I remember reading it really a long time ago. What the fuck is this KDE? Why is this gnome? Uh, oh my, I am. I mean, I really want to talk about those books at least a bit, but this is like throwing me off so much. Uh, Pac-Man. Uh, was it Toolkit? Um, okay, first maybe Firefox, because I don't think there is like any browser on the system. Okay, just to wrap up, Asimov, definitely anything Asimov has written, especially Foundation and The End of Eternity. Sadly, I haven't read Dune yet. But basically, when you read like the first 10 or 20 pages of Asimov's Foundation, it's amazing because basically within those 20 pages you are like, okay, Warhammer has basically 40,000 taken from this, and Star Wars is basically, I want to say, directly inspired or even ripped off the very first pages of Asimov's Foundation. Okay, Firefox. Oh yeah, by the way, this is now a 4K resolution. This is why everything is so small. Previously, I think everything defaulted to full HD, and now it's like 4K. Oh yeah, what I wanted to find, NVIDIA SMI Archlinux. What package is it in? I don't remember. NVIDIA utils. No scaling settings is yes, no, nothing is being set yet. I think KD by default has some sane detection for that, but I think we are in GNOME. I think we need to, oh, we don't need to reboot, but yes, everything is detected, but nothing is using our GPU to accelerate the UI. And that means either GNOME has a very poor support, or that installation is a bit finicky. I want to log out, and maybe I have missed. Can I choose? Can I choose what environment do I boot into? No, everything is listed. I just want to switch. And to be honest, this is exactly why in both Arch Linux Secure and pretty much in Arch Linux for Gaming, I will not be using Login Manager. Okay, before I will send this system to damnation once again, actually I think that this will be a good stopping point for today. And tomorrow we can try out more options of Arch install. But I just want to maybe find out a few more things. I don't know if I ever start with books again, but thanks, I started to write some down. I kind of get that. It's hard to, I mean, many books after some times, especially as you get older, are just so uninteresting. Like it's such a slog to, you know, read more than few pages. But to be honest, if you come across the book that you like, you will basically read it all the way through. I mean, personally, there's the free body problem. I think Apple TV has a series on it, which is supposedly, well received. But for the love of me, I hate that book so much I could not bring myself to finishing it. It's basically a book. It's one of those books where the title says free body problem, and the main character spends like half of the book or even more deciding whether it's a free body problem or not, or even like coming across the very thought of whether this is a free body problem or not. Also, the person who has written that book, I think has never played a video game in their entire lives. Like I mean, supposedly at the very end, it's getting like it's kind of ditching that whole video game whatever narrative, but for the love of me, I fucking hate what they are doing. Uh, free body or free body? No, free body problem. Free as in a number. It's a well-known physics problem. Yep. Supposedly the Apple TV show is good, but I don't really have Apple TV. I am kind of getting tempted as to try out the Apple TV because supposedly it has not on it actually also has Foundation. And it's so weird because there are like good sci-fi shows being made. Like there was the HBO Wolves something. Oh my god. HBO Wolves. Uh, Raised by the Wolves. Yeah, and it's a fucking amazing series. I mean, I think I haven't watched what has happened. I think I haven't watched the second season yet, but the first one was bloody amazing. And they are supposedly Apple TV is doing the foundation, and they are also doing the Free Body Problem. HBO really makes good shows. I wouldn't really say that. Mm, you can come across a good show. Oh, maybe let's put it that way. But I think that from what I've heard, that probability of coming across a good show is higher on Apple TV supposedly. On HBO, I've came across that, and on Netflix or Disney or whatever, I have not come across a good original Disney or Netflix or whatever TV show. Not even once. I think maybe on Netflix, some original Netflix animes, they are alright. I also haven't watched any in 15 years. Uh, I mean, I do watch shit ton. I mean, okay, maybe not shit ton. I do watch anime, so if a streaming platform has anime, this is mostly the one thing I am actually watching. And actually, to be honest, Netflix does have some original animes like Uncle from Another World, but I think like whenever Netflix was still becoming a thing, I think they've done Kuromukuro, and I think that it was basically done for Netflix, and that was quite good if I remember. So, by the way, how is this configured? This is a very typical configuration. Luften Ubuntu Kulan Mine. Sorry for my messed up pronunciation. Hello, hello, hello to you too. Okay. So this is like a very basic setup. Let's also check out the grub. This is also, I think, very basic. MPV? Oh, yeah. What else could I possibly check? Yep, so we are in grub. Like it's weird seeing that unified like UEFI or EFI based boot, like a proper EFI based boot and EFI binaries are seeing such a slow adoption into Linux. Like mainstream Linux, like Arch or Ubuntu or stuff like that. Okay, so I guess we have a handle on how the boot system works. But sadly, this is also like messed up. By the way, this is GNOME. I am not like crazy or something. No, this is KDE. Okay, I'll go crazy if I don't discover the scaling options. Are you coming to the next Ubuntu conference? Would love to see you there. There are Ubuntu conferences happening. Where? When? I mean, not really that I'm interested, but Is there like something happening interesting? Because if it's not in Poland, then definitely I cannot go anywhere. Okay, now the settings are not working. So I have to say that this deployment is definitely cursed. Oh my god, by the way, I do have to... where did I have full screen? Because I also need to see this better just as you are. It doesn't seem like anything is happening. I mean, this has to be cursed, right? I mean, it supposedly says it's KDE, but it looks like a default GNOME installation. I mean, am I missing something? I want to say I am kind of blaming this on the GDM. So maybe let's try one more thing. Pacman R GDM. Let's remove that and let's reboot. Oh my. You can see me pressing F11 just so I can get into my BIOS boot menu, but it's very, very slow to shut down or reboot. Now it's stuck. Yeah. I mean, I do have a solution for that. It's called Control-Alt-F4. I think you could also just install Endeavor OS. It's basically just Archlinux with graphical installer. No, I don't use anything other than mainstream distros. The problem is that the problem isn't in I don't know how to install Arch. The problem is that I have literally just tried an automated installer, the Arch install one. And if you scroll back the stream like 30 minutes before, we've had a perfectly running system. It's just that I started mucking around with BTRFS and unified kernel image. Oh yeah, finally. It actually managed to shut down. Yep, grub. Let's see whether it will drop me to a TTY session, because this would be actually anticipated. Yes, so now if I log in, and sadly I don't really have my KDE launch thingy. So now if I switch to here and go Archlinux KDE and go to wiki, there is a very nice string that tells me how to run this. So now if I go vim kd plasma sh bin bash and usr lib plasma dbus run session if needed usr bin start plasma wayland and give it executable permission. Now it's plasma. So yeah, GDM messed everything up. Yeah, we have apps. Oh, it's not configured for only app add-ons. Install Flatpak. So Flatpak is not installed. So we basically installed KDE, but I don't think it used all the defaults or a KDE meta package. So yeah, sudo su pacman as Flatpak. By the way, I don't really know anything about Ubuntu conference, but I'm pretty sure in November I will be at Supercomputing Frontiers 2025. In this year it's in St. Louis, Missouri. Okay, so we don't really install Flatpak like this. Get set up, get fucked. Pacman as Flatpak. Oh, a typo. Pacman as Flatpak. Have you tried installing Gentoo? No. I do have colleagues at work that are basically have Gentoo on their work laptops. But I think my answer to Gentoo is I would rather spend my computing power mining Bitcoin rather than recompiling everything. And if somebody says that you don't have to compile everything, you can download precompiled binaries, what's the point of Gentoo then even? Okay, it's installed. Oh, by the way, NVIDIA SMI, and now we are using our GPU. Now we have proper GPU acceleration, so at least that's working fine. Does the Discover actually? Oh yeah, because we have installed Firefox not from Flatpaks but from Pacman games. Okay, this is like gaming on Linux stream, so Sonic Robo Blast. Do they have a license for? It's also actually available for free? You're joking, right? I mean, I remember also when it was still a thing, like 12 or 15 years ago. Even I myself have played some also. OpenTTD, yep, I have played that. Are there any like 3D games I'm interested in? I would love to basically check out something 3D, maybe Warzone. Okay, they are sorted by rating. Oh, this one. Tax fishing. There's the free Quake free clone, I don't remember the name. I definitely, because previously we did install Steam and run some games on Steam. I haven't run Cyberpunk. I mean, I did run Cyberpunk on this deployment, but I have Katawa Shoujo. Oh my god. Oh my god. I have played Katawa Shoujo back when it first came out. Uh, going back to my main point. Oh, this is by the way a game I have never managed to even launch for the past 10 years. I was always like interested in it, and I never managed to launch it. But basically, I have installed like I have already run like Cyberpunk or stuff like that. Cyberpunk sadly not on stream, but that was before I had the brilliant idea of streaming anything I am actually doing with this PC whenever it relates to Linux. But you have to trust me on that one that it actually run. And I've actually done some benchmarks. But benchmarking things, that will be a whole another stream. Okay, we have installed things. Oh, there actually, I haven't noticed that there are like categories here. Okay, let's start with tax. Okay. Hey everyone, gaming on Linux is here. Well, can I even catch a fish? I've caught a fish. Nice. Okay, get me out of this bloody thing. It's open arena. Okay. Gaming on Linux has arrived. The boat simulator. Yes. This is the true gaming on Linux experience. Thank you for installing. The game is still in development. My guy, it's like how many years at this point? Single player match campaign. Okay, this is basically first time I'm launching this. Is this like an Age of Empires clone? Oh, by the way, you might not be hearing audio, but this is something that I can't really do much about, because at this point it's either me hearing audio or you hearing audio. Yeah, it's basically like Age of Empires clone. Okay, but it's working, and that's the point. To be honest, I haven't checked whether it does 3D acceleration, but to be honest, and I think I installed one more, right? Or is it my imagination? What is the lowest rated game? Okay, it's not necessarily lowest rated, it basically has 0 ratings. Okay, this is a launcher. By the way, what's the lowest rated game that actually has rating? Project Diva Mega Mix. Sorry, but I am automatically drawn to weep stuff. So the lowest actually rated game. Supermodel. let's give it a chance. And that quite possibly may explain the rating. If you haven't noticed it, if you click launch, maybe a Bitcoin miner just started, I don't know. Okay, this is the last one, and after that I'm closing up the shop. Two 2024. That's quite a long time. Okay. So I don't think anything will happen because I would assume that this is actually waiting for other players to come and join. The literally gaming on Linux experience. What's it called? I think your answer is right here on the screen. freedoom.github.io. And if we quit, blah, yada, 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 yeah, FreeDM. So I think it actually works, which is interesting because this does not work at all. Supermodder is not installed, but still has data present. Please don't. Okay. It's been, I don't know what, an hour and a half? Almost 2 hours. I'm getting kind of tired for tonight. So I guess I'll wrap it up. So, what we learned today. BTRFS snapshots are not, especially rootfs snapshots are not necessarily trivial. Sadly, I have not proven to you that it can be done. It's only my word that I have done this off stream once. The Arch install possibly sucks. You can brick yourself if you don't know what you're doing. And yeah, I think small progress is still progress. So yeah, thanks for today. If you are in Europe, then I wish you a good night. If you're at the States or somewhere else, then I wish you either a good afternoon or a good morning. So that automated installer required more time. Yeah, it requires maybe more profiles or something like that. I don't know. Maybe if it's supposedly for people that are not so familiar with art, then I would say so. It requires more ready to go profiles rather than a menu that basically allows you to choose everything by yourself, especially if you don't understand half the options. But yeah, having said that, thanks everyone for being here today, and quite possibly I'll also try to stream tomorrow. Like the stream, subscribe if you haven't already, and like I said, I hope I'll see you tomorrow, and I hope I will also be able to stream tomorrow. So see you next time.